big test today. So when I bought my Coachmen NOVA, the main reason why I decided to go with the lithium system, and I think this may hold true for a lot of people, is I like the idea of having power on demand when I'm boondocking and I'm not plugged in. Sometimes I don't want to run a generator, or it's not feasible to run a generator. So having power on demand on my lithium system, plus me having Rollo, just made a lot more sense. But with that comes the caveat of the lithium system has to have some minimal performance requirements to justify the extra cost of 20, 30, 40 grand. I don't even know how much it is. I gotta look at the little spec sheet. But it's not cheap, right? And as we talked about before, the brochure talks about 10 or 12 hours of AC usage. And then when I talked to Coachmen, and Nick specifically, they said at a minimum, you know, in warm weather, 80 to 100 degrees weather, I should be getting at a minimum 8 hours out of my AC. Now, in preliminary testing, before it got a little warm, I don't think I was seeing those numbers. But today we're gonna test it out. Currently, outside, we have about 79 degrees, and it's, looks like it's gonna be 80 degrees all day. So, not too hot. I think 80 degrees is the baseline of where you should be testing an AC system. And like I said, what is it, 30 in the Wake Up did do his test on a Stravato, and he got some pretty amazing numbers when he ran this test in about 100-degree heat.
This video kind of shows you how much power this thing really has. You can run that AC for 8 to 9 hours on a full charge in 100-degree weather. That's just nuts. And if the auto system kicks in, then you can run it for days.
So we're gonna see if we get at least 8 hours out of this thing. We're about 80-degree heat. We're gonna set this, right now we're 100% state of charge. Let me show you, I'm not cheating, guys, right? The van is on. Let's see here. 100% state of charge, okay? And I've kind of been cheating because I'm trying to give the most benefit of the doubt to this van. So I've been running the AC. I already got the AC running back here. Everything is buttoned up, right? So there's absolutely no reason why I shouldn't get 8 hours out of this bad Larry. And again, this isn't very realistic, but this is best case scenario, because again, you're gonna be using stuff, you're gonna have lights on, you're gonna be cooking something, you're gonna be watching TV. You may not have everything buttoned up like this, but yeah, with the way I have it set up, there's just nothing else I can do to help the van get that 8 hours that we're advertised at. All right, so me and Katie, we're about to go do this little mud run, and already showed you guys how we're setting up this air conditioning test in the van. Rollo's gonna be in here. Hopefully everything works out. And buddy, you ready? You trust this bad Larry? Do you think it's gonna burn down on you again? I don't think so. I think we're good on that front. So hopefully this thing keeps rolling nice and comfortable. I bumped up the temperature to 73 because again, I'm trying to make this as realistic as possible. And I do understand that at times you're gonna set your thermostat to a little bit higher of a temperature to accommodate for the extra heat, okay? I want to keep them comfortable. I'm not trying to make it a refrigerator in here because then I know the lithium system is just going to get drained automatically. The second I set it to 73, it did feel a little bit warmer in here. It's reading 74 right now. So we're going to leave it a couple minutes. If the temperature doesn't drop, I might set it back down to 72 because it's starting to feel a little bit warmer in here the second I bump it up 1 degree. So with that, let's see how the test goes. What's up, buddies? Why are you looking at my foot? Don't be weird. Good boy. See you guys in a bit.
And if you have
gotcha. What you doing?
Make sure to stick with them throughout the course. Mud stuck to you that won't come off. We have a black.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
What you got there, bub?
You caught me in a moment of weakness.
You only look at this. La 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 la.
Okay, the directions aren't clear on this one.
No, it's not equal. I'm allergic to mud. Don't hide behind children. How dare you? Hey, I was on your side.
Even odds are in my favor. I just need more time. So if you wait just a little bit longer, I will treat you right. Treat you right, yeah. Feels like I'm stumbling, bring me something lighter. Feels like I'm stumbling, bring me something lighter. Soon as I saw you, I knew it's never right now, right now. Someone like you wouldn't take that. I don't even try.
Oh my gosh, it's cold.
Soon as I saw you, I knew it's never right now, right now. Someone like you wouldn't take that. I don't even try, even try.
So about 2 hours have passed, and if we look at our trusty little thermostat here, you have 73 degrees, which is exactly what we had it set to. 73 degrees. So it is matching, and it was looking good. Now the troubling news out of all of this is, after 2 hours, we're at about 69% state of charge. So we're a little bit over 2 hours. So we depleted about 30% in 2 hours. And based on that, we're gonna get about 6 hours out of this AC unit if we continue down this path. But it's looking like 6 hours is the magic number, which is what I saw on my initial testing. All right, so we are at about 3 hours. It's 2:14. We started this test at, what was it, 10:57. Let's call it an even 11. So about 15 minutes past our 3 hour mark. And let's see where we're at. So state of charge is 48%. So we dropped about 50% in 3 hours. And judging based on that, you know, we drop another 50%, you're at zero. This thing's gonna shut off, I think, at 10 or 15% to save the power of the lithium battery. At this point, we're under 6 hours, by a little bit, right? So we're not even getting to the 6 hour mark with the air conditioning, and again, 80-degree weather. So let's see what we got going on for temperature outside. It was 79 when we started, and it's 81 right now. So we bumped up by 2 degrees. Again, not unrealistic to test the air conditioner in 80-degree weather, because 80-degree weather, I think, is like the baseline of where things become too hot to the point where I need to kick my AC on. And if you have little furry friends like Rollo, you're definitely going to be kicking the AC on. It works great. It is nice and cool in here. I think one thing that maybe perhaps Coachmen missed would have made this lithium system a little bit more efficient is figuring out a way to get this part of the van, the cabin van, to be insulated a little better. These sunshade protectors or sun reflectors, whatever it is, are not manufactured in a very good way. So if I actually step over here, immediately it's just warm, okay? And if I touch this here, this is actually very warm to the touch. This isn't reflecting the sun. We have a white fabric on the outside, but as the sun is hitting this, it's heating this up. And once this is hot, all of that heat is just radiating through it. And I think the same thing is happening with the floor. I know Nick talks about this reflective barrier that they put on the floor between the body of the van and the plywood. There's a reflective barrier. It's very thin, it's just to reflect that heat. Again, I think that was a miscalculation, because sure, it's gonna reflect that heat, but what is it reflecting that heat into? It's reflecting that heat straight into the metal body of the van. And as that metal body of the van heats up, it's just gonna overpower that barrier. That barrier does not heat resistant, it's just reflective. So it might work for a little bit, but as soon as that metal heats up and it heats up that barrier, it doesn't matter anymore. All of that heat is coming through that floor. All the heat is coming through these sunshades or whatever it is. So, and you can feel it. All right, so again, right now, it's matching up. The Firefly is saying we're at 75 degrees in the van, and that's gone up. Before we were seeing like a 1, maybe a 2 degree variance between what we have the setting to what the actual temperature is. And again, the reason why I think that is as the van body heats up and it starts overpowering that reflective barrier, it starts overpowering the sunshade over there, it's gonna make it harder and harder for this air conditioner to keep the inside of the van cool. As the time goes on, that's why I think we're starting to see this variance come up even more. And that goes back to proper insulation, where we don't really see this on this Nova. You know, there's no lizard skin, there's a lot of exposed bare metal, especially with the floor, where you're gonna see a lot of your extreme temperatures come in and make their way into the inside of your van. So yeah, so 75 degrees right now on the thermostat, which is matched to the Firefly. I'm gonna throw this into the cabin of the van for about 5 minutes to see what the actual difference is between the house of the van and the cabin. And all it is just bad insulation versus at least we got something back here and we have the AC blowing. If you look at this thermostat here, we've had this sitting here for about 4 minutes, something like that. It's already at 81 degrees. So this is at a constant war, what you got going in the back, and it's making the AC work twice as hard because it can never get to that temperature of whatever you have it set to and then kind of maintain. If the weather was cooler outside, let's say it was 76, or take whatever arbitrary number you want. If you set this AC to 75, once it gets to 75, it uses a lot less wattage from the lithium system because it's just maintaining at that point. The AC just becomes kind of like a fan and it continues to blow fresh air and stuff like that. And if that temperature goes up again, then it turns on its magical cooling properties and starts putting in more cold air into the van, which of course uses more lithium power. So again, what's happening here, what's happening with the insulation of the floor, with the insulation of the body of the van, is diminishing the performance of this lithionic system substantially. So whatever testing was conducted to get the 10-12 hours that Coachmen thought you would get with the system, or even the 8 hours that that was given the system, might be possible if everything else in this fan was insulated and thought out a little better, where you had, you know, these sunshades here that didn't absorb all this heat and then just automatically dump that heat into the cabin of the van. So, nope, just sitting here talking, we're at already 83 degrees, and it's warm. It's substantially, not just substantially, it's hot. This section of the van is hot. Where you step back there, it's nice and cool, and that's why Rollo, when it heats up, look where he goes. Because 83 degrees versus 73 to 74 back there. He knows it. So this is what it looks like between active cooling and just maintaining with the AC in it. So right now I set my temperature to 74 degrees and 67 degrees inside the coach. So this is just to show you what happens when you set a temperature and it's already reached or exceeded that temperature. 374 watts. That's what it's pushing right now to maintain the temperature that we got going on in the van. So now we dramatically decrease the temperature that we want inside the coach versus what it is right now. And this is again just to show you what kind of a pool you're looking at between active cooling and maintaining. So right now currently about 1,000 watts, and this varies between 1,000 and 1,300 watts depending on what temperature you have it set to, and I'm sure in other factors. All right, so it is about 2:57. So that's exactly almost 4 hours of AC runtime. So as you guys can see, I put the thermostat back in the back of the van, and we're back to 73 degrees. Let's check our state of charge and see what we got going on after 4 hours. 35%. All right, so 4 hours and 80-degree heat with your AC set to 72, which you'll never get to 72. It kind of lingered around. Start up at 73, then after the first hour, this thing came off again. After the first hour, I went up to 74, then 75. If it was reflective sunshades on the windows, I don't know this, I'm not a scientist, but I think it would actually work a lot better, because instead of absorbing all that heat and in effect just making a space heater with those sunshades, it would have maybe reflected some of that sun and heat back into the outside world. There you have it. Definitely not 8 hours of AC runtime when you need it. Will not get you through the night. I think if I had to guesstimate based on what we got left, I don't know if this thing shuts down at 15 or 10%, but I would say it's probably going to get you like about 5.5 hours of these conditions. So another interesting thing that I discovered in my testing of the lithium system is that when the state of charge goes below 18%, This lithium system is not gonna continue to allow you to power things like the microwave, the induction stovetop, or your air conditioning unit. So I didn't take that into account during the test to get my 5.5 hours. Knowing that now, it shows that we're actually gonna get even less than 5.5 hours, and showing that we get about 60 to 70% usage of the battery every single hour, we're at 5 hours at this point. So 18% state of charge. This is what starts happening when you try to use inverter type appliances. Microwave, induction stovetop, coffee maker, and even the AC unit. So check it out. There we go. Starting that up. Now let's see what happens here. And there you go. So it's gonna start freaking out and it's gonna shut everything down. There we go. Shutdown. So there you go. Your battery stops at about 18%. You can no longer run inverter type appliances after 18%. So the AC unit will only go to that. Rollo, you ready for final thoughts? I think you are. All right, final thoughts. Let me roll this window up because it's probably gonna get a little loud. So the pros of the Li3 system installed on my Nova is that it works. And if you're not running the AC or the electrical heater, you're gonna have plenty of power for at least 24 hours to do whatever you want in this fan, whether it's to cook, just have the lights on, power the little max air fan, watch TV, whatever it is, you're fine. Now, I am a little disappointed with the performance of the lithium system when it comes to powering the air conditioner. Getting about 5 hours. 5 hours is not a lot of time, and it definitely doesn't meet my needs with Rollo. If I have to leave Rollo in the van for long periods of time when I'm going to work, 5 hours just doesn't cut it for me. Now, this 5 hours could either be because there's just not enough power bank, not enough capacity in this Li3 system to just power this fan. Or it could be a design flaw with what I talked about in my video. Now, I'm not an expert, this is just my opinion again, this is my opinion, not the opinion, and I think it is a combination of both. I don't think there's enough capacity in the system that's installed here, and I think the design of this fan kind of makes the fan fight itself when it's trying to cool. Another major limitation of this lithium system is the recharge rate. I get about 20% recharge to the battery for about an hour of runtime. And that goes down to about 10% per hour if I'm still running the AC. So you're looking at about, at a minimum, 4 hours to fully recharge your lithium system power bank if you deplete it while running the AC. And again, it's probably gonna be more like 8 hours because if you're recharging it, that means you were using it, right? So if you're somewhere camping or boondocking and you depleted your system after 5 hours of use, you need to recharge it, you're gonna be running your van and blowing your AC for about 8 hours to get it back up to 100%. Now, if you compare that with the Volta system installed on the Travado, so 30 to wake up, when he ran his test, he got about 40 to 50% recharge rate to his lithium system for about an hour of runtime of his van. And that's in conjunction with, he has an auto on feature that when his battery goes to a certain level, it automatically kickstarts the van on and recharges it for him. So you don't have to worry about that. So if you're sleeping at night, or for example, in my situation, if I have Rollo in the van and I'm out somewhere and I'm going past my 4 or 5 hours, I don't have to worry about anything with the Volta system because I know it's gonna kick itself on, recharge the battery, and continue going. And as long as you have gas in the gas tank, you don't have to worry about your lithium system powering your AC unit for your animals or for yourself. So in talking with Coachmen, they still think that I should be getting 8 hours. So maybe there's still something wrong with my wiring or something else with the van that's limiting the lithium system substantially. I'm actually currently right now, as you're looking at this am driving to Middlebury, Indiana, back to the Coachmen factory to have them take a look at the lithium system, as well as a couple other fixings. So we'll see what happens. If this lithium system does get me more than the 5 hours that I have shown with my tests, then I'll make an addendum to this video and I'll let you guys know the results of that. Now, one thing that I am going to be doing is I'm going to be having a sit down with Nick, and we're going to be doing a little Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, anything you want to ask Nick, you want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, put them in the comment section, and I'm going to ask Nick. Nothing's off the table, you know, just keep it respectful. So yeah, stay tuned for that video. Let me know you guys' thoughts on this lithium system. And until next time, I'm Vasya. This is Rollo. You guys all know him. Look at him. Doing what he does best. Sleeping. He lives a hard life. See you guys next time.